The story goes like this. In 1860, two trappers built this one-room cabin in the mountains of southeastern Oklahoma. Some believe a large Choctaw family later occupied it, with the children sleeping in the loft. Now the cabin rests peacefully in Ada's picturesque Wintersmith Park, and how it ended up there is the best part of the story. In the early 1970s, Pontotoc County residents Cecil and Nell Campbell won a trip to Arkansas. As they drove through tiny Hodgen, Oklahoma, just south of Heavener in the far eastern part of the state, they noticed some people dismantling the little cabin. The owner of the cabin told the Campbells he intended to convert it into a hog pen. Nell felt like it deserved a better fate than that, and even thought she might turn it into an antique shop near her home in Fitztown. They offered $75 for the cabin, and the owner sold it to them on the spot.
Oh, I thought it was about 1870 when they first thought it was built, and maybe an Indian family lived in it. They're not real sure, but they were going to use it as a pig pen when Mrs. Campbell saw it and said, "Oh, don't do that, I want it." And then she put a little curio shop in it down in Fitztown. So it's had a good use, I think.
Soon after, the Campbells hired a man to move the cabin from Hodgen to Fitztown. Each log was to be numbered so that it could be reassembled in Pontotoc County in a historically accurate manner. In the moving process, the numbers were misplaced, forcing the cabin to be rebuilt without exact plans. Parts of the original fireplace were lost in Hodgen and left there. For more than 25 years, the little stone and wood cabin sat on the Campbell property near Fitztown. After Cecil passed away and Nell fell ill, their daughters decided to sell the homestead. Local house mover Corky Hudson knew about the cabin and mentioned it to local historian Billy Floyd, who jumped at the chance to obtain it for the community. With the family's blessing, the cabin was destined for its third move, this time to Ada. On October 17, 2001, Hudson and his crew brought the Campbell cabin into Wintersmith Park and rested it on a foundation of dry, stacked stones laid in preparation by city workers. That year marked Ada's centennial, infusing the Old World acquisition with even greater meaning.
He brought it all in one piece, he and his workers, and set it down, and I was here the day that he brought this in on a big truck and plopped it down, and what a thrill that was.
The Campbell cabin now rests alongside the historic Little Red Schoolhouse on the park's north side. Later, a front porch and steps were added. Since its arrival in 2001, the cabin has gradually been filled with authentic period artifacts to simulate what it may have looked like more than 150 years earlier. Like the Little Red Schoolhouse next door, the Campbell Cabin is available for viewing and serves as an excellent method to teach local children how their ancestors lived.
We've had hundreds of children, school children come from all in the area, and we play games with them. We play Ring Around the Roses, and hopscotch is a little bit rough for me. And when we played Ring Around the Roses or Drop the Handkerchief, who did they drop the handkerchief behind the most is the old lady with the long dress. The one little boy said, "Where's your restroom?" And I showed him the chamber pot. Well, he didn't know what that was. And the little boy standing beside him said, "Well, it's outside, silly." The smaller ones don't understand, but the older ones say, "Oh, we see things like that in Little House on the Prairie." So that sort of helps the older ones. They had to make their own soap and their candles, and they had to make their own shoes because the children went barefoot. And the irons are in there, and we have cook pots that were used over the fireplace, and we later got that beautiful stove. It's pretty authentic and getting old, but I hope we can preserve it.
From Hodgen to Fitztown to its final resting place in Ada, the Campbell Cabin has a unique story, hopefully one that will be heard for generations to come.